Today we're going to go over how to make this beautiful crochet bag. I'm going to go over all the different stitches and techniques that I use to make it. So what do you need to make this bag? I used 2 skeins of yarn. So I used the orange and this really beautiful variegated yarn that matches perfectly with the orange. And I used just about the full skein for both colors. Also from my toolkit, a 4mm hook is the hook that I went for because of the tension. So I liked how it wasn't too tight, but it wasn't too loose when I crocheted with it either, so things won't be falling out of the bag. So I use a 4mm hook, but you can use whatever hook you prefer. Also, we're gonna need the snippers and a yarn needle. So these are all the items that I use. I do want to make a note that if you want to make a bigger bag, it's totally possible and it's really easy to use. In this video, you're going to do the exact same steps that I did, except you are going to make your foundation chain longer. So at the beginning, when I chain my amount of chains, you can do the exact same but make them longer. And when we work up, you're going to do more row repeats. So I'll explain that in the video as well. And if you're gonna do a bigger size, you'll need another color as well of yarn because this is gonna take up both colors of yarn. So if you wanna make a bigger bag, you're gonna need a little bit more yarn. But if you are a beginner and you're barely learning how to crochet, I would recommend first making the bag in the video exactly how it's described, and then after you can make a second one and change it up however you want with the different lengths. So you can also use a measuring tape, which is found in your toolkit, and you can use that to find out what measurements you want to make it as well. So this is a really fun pattern, really easy. We're going to learn some new stitches and techniques, and it can be easily changed into different sizes. Okay, so the very first thing, I'm gonna leave a bit of a tail because we're gonna need to sew this in at the very end. So I'm gonna start by chaining, and I'm gonna go ahead and chain 30. So remember how to do the chain just like that. Yarn over, pull through. I'm gonna do that 30 times. Okay, and when you get to that last stitch, the last chain of 30, make an extra chain, an extra 2 chains, and then what we're gonna do is go into the 3rd chain from the hook, so skipping those first 2 that we just made, and we're gonna do a half double crochet. So yarn over, insert the hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Now we're going to go into the next one, yarn over, insert the hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. So I'm going to half double crochet all the way across until the very end. And just so you know, if you want to use a hook that gets you to a similar sized bag, when I made that chain, so I'm going to grab my toolkit, and this measuring tape. So if you want a bag of a similar size, when I made that chain of 30, it is about 7.5 inches when you hold it out straight. So if you want your bag to be similar to my size bag, you can find a hook size that when you chain 30 is about 7.5 inches. So I'm going to keep half double crocheting all the way across until I get to the end. Okay, so I got to the very last half double crochet. So I'm going to chain 2, turn my work, skipping those first 2 chains that I made. I'm going to work on that 3rd stitch from the hook, so skipping the first 2, going in the 3rd, and I'm going to continue half double crocheting across. So the same stitch that we worked at the first row, which was a half double crochet, yarn over, insert the hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. I'm going to continue half double crocheting all the way across until I get to the end. And when you get to that very last half double crochet, chain 2. This time I'm going to double crochet all the way across. We just did 2 rows of half double crochet, but now we're going to work half double crochets. So yarn over, insert the hook, pull through, yarn over, pull under the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. So continue doing that all the way across, and I'll meet you at the very end. So after the very last double crochet, again chain 2, turn your work, and we're going to do half double crochet in the 3rd stitch. So skipping that chain 2, you're doing a half double crochet, and then continue doing half double crochets all the way across. So what we did for the first 3 rounds, which was half double crochet, double crochet, I'm going to continue that same sequence, and I'm going to keep making this longer. So right now I'm building up, but I'm going to continue doing half double crochet, double crochet. At the end of every row, I'm going to chain 2, skip those chain 2, and work in the 3rd stitch just like normal. So you will always have 30 stitches across. We're not increasing or decreasing, we're just working half double crochet, and then double crochet. So I'm going to continue doing that. So at this point, I've done our sequence 3 times. So 2 half double crochet rows, double crochet. I've repeated that 3 times. So where I am right here is the very last double crochet. And what I'm gonna do is actually change the color because I want to have the bottom of the bag be a different color, and I'm gonna bring in this beautiful variegated yarn. So I'm gonna do a color change. So this is how I'm going to color change. I'm going to take out that last double crochet and I'm going to do it again but with the color change. So I'm starting the double crochet again. I'm going to yarn over, go through 2 loops, and then this is the part where you would yarn over and then go through the last 2 loops. But I'm going to grab that new color of yarn, put it around the hook, so it's as if I yarned over with the new color of the yarn, and I'm gonna pull through and chain 2. Just continue the sequence as normal. So since I just did the double crochet, the next 2 rows are half double crochet just like normal, and I am now crocheting with the new yarn. So I'm just half double crocheting across. So as you can see, I'm just half double crocheting across, so I'm going to continue the sequence. So you're going to continue the 2 half double crochet, double crochet, 2 half double crochet, double crochet. And with the new color, I'm going to do that sequence 4 times. And remember, at the end of every row, chain 2 and then continue crocheting on the 3rd stitch, so skipping that chain 2, but don't forget to chain 2 at the end of every row. And if you want to, you can snip off the orange yarn that we were working with. But you want to leave a long tail so we can weave it in later. And then this orange yarn, we're gonna go back to it, but you can put it off to the side for right now. So again, I'm just gonna continue half double crocheting and then double crocheting, and I'm gonna do that sequence 2 rows of half double crochet, 1 row of double crochet 4 times in this color. So on this very last double crochet, I'm going to change colors to go back to orange. So I have my orange right here. And I'm going to change colors the same way that I did down here. So I started that double crochet stitch, and I'm actually going to pull through the first two, and I'm going to use the new yarn to pull through the last two, then chain two, turn the work, and skipping the first two chains, yarn over, and half double crochet across. So I'm continuing the sequence of 2 half double crochet rows and then 1 row of double crochet. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and snip off this excess yarn so it doesn't get in the way, but I'm going to leave a good tail so we can weave it in. So since in this bottom portion we did the sequence 3 times, for this next portion I'm gonna do that same sequence 3 times, and then what we're gonna do is fold this in half, and we're gonna have the front and the back of the bag. So I'm gonna continue doing 2 rows of half double crochet, 1 row of double crochet, and I'm just gonna use the orange yarn at the end of every row. I'm gonna chain 2 and then skip those as I work into the row. Once you finish that very last double crochet, what we're gonna do is finish off. So I'm going to cut some yarn. Again, like always, you want to leave a nice long tail for sewing and weaving in the ends. And then I'm just gonna pull it through. So I have a few ends here and here, but we can get to those after. So basically we have our bag here just laid out like so. So all you have to do to piece it together is to sew or crochet on each side. Personally, I prefer to crochet. I think it's a lot more sturdy. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. But if you want to sew both sides together, you can definitely do that. Whatever you prefer. This is gonna be your project, your bag. So to make the crochet along the side, so I'm gonna single crochet, I am gonna use the same yarn that I used for the bottom. So the variegated yarn. So I'm just inserting my hook. Leave a nice tail so you can weave that in after as well. And starting from the bottom of the bag, I'm gonna go ahead and single crochet all across. Just like this, making sure to go in when I go insert my hook. I'm making sure that I'm going in both the front and the back pieces of the bag. And don't worry about the ends that we have left before. We're gonna weave those in after. You can just kind of set them to a side, kind of push them over as you're crocheting or sewing if that's what you chose to do. Okay, and once I made it to that very top, I'm going to again cut the yarn and pull it through. And we're gonna do the exact same thing on the other side of the bag. So putting my yarn through the bottom. So I inserted the hook, leaving some yarn. I'm going to pull it through and just start single crocheting. So this is gonna be the inside of the bag. So what I'm gonna do now is weave in all of these ends. So what's gonna happen once we finish weaving in the ends, we're gonna flip the bag the other way. So that end, that seam, when we did the single crochets is gonna be on the inside. If you prefer to have this seam on the outside, you can go ahead and leave it this way if that's what you prefer. Or again, if you want it to be like this on the outside, let me flip it completely so you can see, where it looks a little bit more clean on the ends, then it'll be the way that I said at the beginning, where this is gonna be the inside. So you don't have to worry too much about having like messy ends when you weave them in, because this again is gonna be on the inside. So I'm gonna go through and weave in the ends. For that, I'm gonna grab the toolkit, and I'm gonna grab a yarn needle, and weave in the ends. Weaving in ends is so easy. All you have to do is really work back and forth on a few stitches, and that's really all there is to it. So you can see I'm working through these stitches. So I'm going this way. I'm gonna pull the yarn through. Now I'm gonna choose to go back in the same direction. And snip this off. There we go. That's one end weaved in. It's super quick, super easy. All you have to do is do that for all of the ends, and then we'll be back to do the next step. So with our bag complete and our ends weaved in, the very last step that we're going to take is we're going to make the strap of the bag. So this part is actually really fun because you can completely take liberty with this. If you want to have the strap longer, you can chain however you want, however many stitches you want, or if you want to make it shorter, you can do that as well by decreasing the amount of stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and use this variegated yarn, which is the same that I used for the bottom and the sides, so it's going to have that matching yarn going all around. And I'm going to begin chaining and see how many I like. I think right now I'm going to go for 60, but I'm going to put that on the other side and see how I like it. Okay, so I finished chaining 60, and when I put it on the bag, I think that's a perfect size for like a cute little gift bag. You can use this or just put it on your hand. Again, if you want to make it longer to where the strap would go around your body, you just chain this as many times as you would like. You can keep putting this against your body. You can put it around you and see how many chains you would need to make it. Super easy. Once you have the amount of chains you like, I would chain an extra 2, and then you're gonna skip those those last 2 chains that you just made. You're gonna skip those, work into the 3rd stitch, so skipping the first 2, working into the 3rd, and I'm gonna do half double crochets all the way across. So I'm just gonna continue doing the half double crochet by yarning over, inserting the hook through the stitch, pulling the yarn through, yarning over, and pulling through all 3 loops. I'm going to continue that half double crochet stitch all the way across on my 60 stitches, and then you can continue it on however many stitches you created on your chain. So don't forget, it's really easy. You yarn over, insert the hook, pull through, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops, and just continue that all throughout the chain. I'll meet you when we get to the end. when you get to the very last stitch on the chain, you can put this on the purse and see if you like how thick it is or if you want it a little bit thicker. And I'm gonna do another row of single crochet. So it's not gonna be as thick as the half double crochet, but it is still gonna give it a little bit of thickness. So I'm gonna chain one because it's just a single crochet. It's not as tall as the half double crochet. So I'm just chaining one. And I'm going to skip that one chain and then single crochet across. And I'm going to continue single crocheting across until I get to the end. Then we're going to finish off and I'll show you what to do next. So after the very last single crochet, I'm going to go ahead and finish off. I like the strap. I like how thick it is as well as how long it is. So it's going to be perfect just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to cut a tail. And you can set the remaining yarn to a side. You won't be needing it anymore. So we're going to pull this through. You're also done with your crochet hook. You can put that to the side for now. What you're going to be needing again is your yarn needle. And I still have my bag inside out because I want this to be the end that's going to go inside. And I want this to be on the outside. So I have my bag inside out. What I'm going to do is sew on the straps to the sides. So we're going to start one side at a time. So I'm just going to sew right across. Just one stitch at a time. So after I sewed across, now I'm going to work up. Okay, so what I essentially did was I sewed across, then I worked my way up, across again, and down. So I kind of sewed a little square, and it's now perfectly secure on there. So I'm going to make a little knot. And then I'm going to pull the knot inside. So the knot, I hid it between the layer of the strap and the layer of the bag. If you want, you can weave in this end, but it's not necessary because we just made a knot instead. And again, the reason I made a knot is because we can hide it in between that layer, so it's really secure in there. Now I'm going to go on the other side. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I have a little knot, and now I'm going to hide it. And pull it through. Okay, so all the parts for the bag are done. We finished. Now the very last thing to do, super exciting, is to flip the bag around. And have the right way out. And there you have a super cute little bag. So I love this for so many reasons. You can use this to give it as a little treat bag. You can give it as a gift to someone, or you can use this to carry around little items. I think it's so much fun. And I absolutely hope that you enjoyed this video and that you learned some new crochet techniques and you enjoyed making a bag.